One big mistake that everybody is making is that you're thinking that you are the body. You'll live your whole life thinking that you're the body, when in reality, you're the soul, you're the spirit, you're the whole universe itself. The body was just given to you as a mechanism so you can experience life, so you can experience dunya. But the beautiful part about this whole body that you've been given is that the body is a whole machine. So I was sitting down, I was doing some tafakkur, right? I was literally just contemplating about the whole body that Allah has given us. I'm like, the body is such a great representation of how this whole manifestation thing works. Because think about it, right? Like if I have a physical object right now, so this is a physical object, right? This was once imagined in someone else's mind. But then what happened is that it went through the process of manifestation and then it became a reality. So what is this whole process of manifestation? So it starts here. I mean, literally, bro, like it starts from the bottom all the way, starts from the top, all the way to the bottom. So here, this is where you start to get divine insight. In your mind is where you start to get ideas. Like if you ever thought that Allah gives you rizq or accepts your dua in the form of sending angels towards you, that's completely false. The way that it happens is that Allah is going to be giving you an idea. Let's just say you're making a dua. You're like, God, please help me pay my whole debt. Allah is going to give you an idea. An idea, the brain is going to be receiving it. What's going to happen is that once the brain receives it, that's the thought. So first of all, it starts with the thoughts. Second thing that's going to happen is that you'll be feeling an emotion. You'll be feeling something in the heart. So first it's the mind, thoughts, then it's the heart, emotion. And then from the heart, what's going to happen is that it's going to transfer to the arms and the legs. That's where you'll start taking action. So that's the whole process of manifestation. First of all, it's a thought, then a feeling, and then action through the arms and the legs. And I was like, that's so beautiful. Like God's design is beautiful. But then I went deeper. This right here is in Arabic, okay? So I'll explain to you what the words mean and everything. This word, it means qalb. This means heart. This word is aql, which means mind. So as you can see, like the mind and the heart are in the middle. So now if you're asking me, you're like, wait, but you receive thoughts from Allah and then you act upon them. But how am I supposed to receive thoughts that actually help me to receive my whatever dua, like my manifestation, my desire, whatever the thing is that you want. So understand right here, the human being is in the middle of both the spiritual world and the physical world. So the human being is in the middle of heaven and hell. Above you is heaven, below you is hell. Which means that you, right now, you're a human that's watching me, right? You're the only being, the only creature that can go to the heavens or you can go to the hell, to Jahannam. No other creature has this, which means that you have so much power on your hands. A dog is only stuck in the physical realm. The devils are only stuck in the lower realm. The angels are only stuck in the upper realm. But you're the only one that can go the upper realm and the bottom realm. So what happens is that whenever you're feeling horrible, whenever you're feeling depressed, whenever you're doing sins, you're drinking alcohol, you're watching porn, you're having zina, you're doing all these sins, you're basically hanging out in the lower realm. Lower realm, that word is so hard. If you start putting your attention on things that are haram, so basically you follow the footsteps of shaitan, as you can see right here. This is where you'll be feeling the depression, you'll be feeling the anxiety, and the way for you to do this is when you pollute the heart. So this is why I say, understand that you're the soul, you are the soul, but this mechanism that you've been given, whatever you do with this mechanism, you end up where you belong. So if you treat this mechanism properly, if you treat this body properly, you'll end up right here at the top with Allah in the akhirah. But then if you treat this body horribly, that's where you'll end up at the bottom. That's where you'll end up at the bottom, which is right with the devil, which is Jahannam. Right now, if you look at your whole life, because again, I told you, thought, emotion, action, and then that's your whole life. This is the biggest proof that your outside is a reflection of your inside. So now ask yourself, if you just become aware of what's happening in your brain or what you've been doing throughout the day, are you in a state of ghafla? So are you in a state of you're just super low awareness? This right here is ghafla. Ghafla just means that you're living your whole life just like a cow. Like a cow doesn't really pay attention to its surrounding. Like a car can just pass through a cow and the cow won't even react. So right now, if you're like one of those people that constantly scroll, if you're one of those people that constantly watch porn, you're basically living in a state of ghafla. What that means is that you're not even conscious of what's happening to you. You're not even aware of what's happening to you. And then once you do that, imagine what type of thoughts and what type of feelings you'll be receiving. And this is why your action is horrible. You can't even take proper action because the type of thoughts you have and the type of feelings you have are horrible. It's not even aligned with your true self, which means that at this stage right here, like in this stage right here, your soul, which is the nafs, this is where you call it a nafs al-amara bisu. So this is the soul that demands evil. So listen, if you keep putting all your attention on the dunya, so as you can see right here, dunya, if you keep putting all your attention on the dunya, which means that you're indulging yourself with so much sins, then that's where you'll be getting the state of ghafla. And this is where you're basically following the footsteps of the shaitan, and that's where you have the soul that commands with evil. And this is where you'll notice like the entire body, it's going to be acting upon evil. And by evil, I'm not just saying like you'll be killing people. That's not what I mean. By evil, I mean that you'll be killing the body itself, because the body is not you. The body is just a mechanism that you've been given, but you'll be destroying this body if the soul is putting all of its attention on the dunya right here. And you'll know if you're putting all your attention on the dunya if you're living in a state of ghafla. You're living in a state of heedlessness. So what are you supposed to do? How do you get out of... And by the way, the reason why I'm saying this to you right now is because if you're looking at your life right now and you're finding it to be hell, you're finding it to be hard, you're finding it to be horrible, like you're just sitting down and you just constantly feel depression in your heart, if you're finding it like that, understand you're basically in the lower realm right here. So what you're supposed to be doing is this right here. You're supposed to be doing jihad and nafs. Jihad and nafs, which means that you're supposed to be struggling against the self. You're supposed to be disciplining the self. Jihad just literally means to struggle. To struggle. So Allah's telling you that you're supposed to go through the struggle of the self. So any desires that your self is telling you to go and do, you need to be disciplining it and telling it, no, you can't do such things. And by the way, I'm talking about like even the most littlest things. So for example, if you can't control yourself, you need to be so good at controlling yourself to the point that even the little things, you stop it. So if you keep craving pizzas and you can't control yourself when you eat pizza, you need to be stopping that. If you don't stop that, you'll keep indulging in sin. And the more you keep indulging in sin, i.e., the more you keep putting your attention on the dunya, the more that you'll keep living in the lower realm right here. So then once you do this, once you go through jihad and nafs, that's where your qalb and mind, they'll be in a state of ease. And this is where tahdhib al-akhlaq, you'll see the people, tahdhib al-akhlaq means that disciplining your manners, perfecting your character. Whenever you see people, by the way, that have horrible character, I don't care how religious you are, by the way. I don't care how religious you are. If you have horrible character, you make fun of people, you cuss. Imagine a religious person that cuss. You claim to be someone who's religious, then you go and comment on people's posts, and you're just cussing, or you're making fun of someone's mom, or you're just horrible character. If you have a horrible character, immediately when I see someone just like that, I'm like, this person is not even aligned with the will of Allah. Because when you are aligned with the will of Allah and you have good character, that's how you can go up. That's how you can go up right here. So how do you go up right here? That's where you do tazkiyat al-nafs. So tazkiyat al-nafs is where you're basically purifying the soul. So again, I told you that you're the soul, and then you're not the body. The body is just the mechanism. Keep that in mind. And the body has this ability where it can have things from the inside and then take it out on the outside. So the outside is a reflection of the inside of the body. What that means is that the one that's controlling the body is the soul. So then if you purify the soul, how do you purify the soul? Through putting your attention only on Allah. Only on Allah and the afterlife. What that means is that you're constantly doing dhikr. Because what is dhikr? Dhikr is just remembrance of Allah. And then once you start doing dhikr, you'll go from a state of heedlessness to the state of fitrah. By the way, Habibi, the other day actually I saw, and this is a verse in the Bible actually. I saw a verse in the Bible that said that Jesus, peace be upon him, he said, you won't enter heaven until you become like little children. And I was like, that's actually pretty powerful, man. You won't enter heaven until you become like little children. What do you think that means? When you look at a little child is in a state of fitrah. So he's right here, which means that he's very close to Allah. Children are the closest to Allah because they just came from Allah. Their soul is pure. They haven't gone through this process of consistently putting their attention on the dunya, because the more you put your attention on the dunya, the more that the soul gets polluted, and then as a result, the type of thoughts you'll be receiving, the type of emotion, the type of action you'll be taking, it's all going to be horrible. But then when you purify the soul, that's where you purify the mechanism, which is the body. And that's where you start to get into a state of fitrah again. Like, understand, I made a video on my Raw channel, where I was like, have you ever noticed how children, they're always like do it again, do it again. You do something funny to them, and they're just like, do it again. And I find that so cute, bro. But you know why they do that? You look at, for example, you look at Allah. When Allah is running the universe, the sun, it's constantly coming out, and the moon is constantly coming out, and then it goes back in. And then what happens? Allah tells it to do it again. Constantly. Like there's always this thing where it's just like, do it again. Do it again. The day and the night are just moving around. Do it again. Do it again. And so why is that? It's because that's how Allah works, bro. Because that's what that means, is that it's in the present moments. The present moment is all there is. Children are living in the present moments. You are not living in the present moments. You're stuck in the past and you're worried about the future. When you're living in the present moments, you'll see things as they are. And things as they are is always beautiful. It's always beautiful. That's why kids, when they see something, they just want to keep seeing it over and over again, because they're consistently living in the present moments. They hold no memory. They hold no grudge. And you know what the beautiful thing about that too? Any sheikh that, like an old sheikh that goes through doing a lot of remembrance, a lot of dhikr, when you look at them, they all have that childlike manner, that childlike purity. You look at them and they're just constantly living in the present moments. When they're looking at things, they're looking at it as it is. When they're looking at their wife, even, by the way, they're looking at their wife as she is, not as they viewed her from the past or as they think that she's gonna do. Like they view her as she is. This is the biggest problem why even relationships, they fall down, because you start to look at your husband not as they are, but as you think they are, and as your memories tell you they are from the past. And then that's where you start to get bored of your husband. You know, you're never supposed to be bored of your husband. You're never. I should tell it. I mean, my wife should be watched, but my wife is never bored. You should be never bored of your wife either. You shouldn't even be bored of your parents, your siblings. Why would you be bored of them? They're constantly renewing. And then if you're actually living in the present moments, these people that you've seen all your life, you won't ever be bored of them, because you're constantly seeing them getting renewed. And it's not just the people. You'll constantly be seeing life getting renewed. And that's so beautiful. This is the thing that most of you guys are missing. Because do you know why most of you guys are missing? Because most of you guys are living right here. Most of you guys are following the footsteps of the shaitan, and you have horrible character. You don't even discipline your character, and then you think you're religious because you pray your 5 daily prayers. Imagine telling me that you pray your 5 daily prayers, and then you come at someone online, because no one can see your face. So you come at someone online, and then you start cussing at them just because they have different teachings than the ones that you're used to. I see the comments that you guys write on my feed, that you guys write on my videos. Some of you guys are actually pretty messed up, bro. You guys are just like, this guy is completely... Like, you start to make fun when all I do is just give you teachings that are coming out of love. I'm like, you guys are claiming to be religious when you can't even give an advice to someone unless, like, you're extremely rude. Like, what kind of behavior is that? Is that the behavior of a Muslim? So this is the thing. Tazkiyat an-nafs. The more that you purify the self, the more that even your character as a result is going to be purified, and the more that you start to be aligned with the fitrah. The fitrah, and by the way, I'm 100% sure, man. People that are not aligned with their fitrah, they can't enter heaven. Why can't you enter heaven? Because you're living in ghafla. And if you're living in ghafla, who are you with? Shaitan. You're with the devil himself, bro. But now if you're living in fitrah, which means that you're constantly living in the present moment, and you still have that childlike purity, that you live your life like you're still a child. And I'm not saying that in the sense where you're like immature. It's not immaturity. There's a difference between immaturity and purity. When I'm saying purity, I mean that when people look at you, they can tell that you're mature, but they can still tell that you're someone that's so playful, that's so beautiful, that has such beautiful energy that they just want to be around. So that's the thing. Allah wants you to be in a state where you're back to the fitrah. You're back to the fitrah. And Allah wants you to be a state that you have the nafs al-mutma'inna. And understand, there's a whole ayah. You can search it up in the Quran. Ya ayyatuha nafs al-mutma'inna irji'i ila rabbiki radiyatan mardiyya. Allah is saying, oh you, the content soul, and nafs al-mutma'inna, come back to your Lord, because your Lord is pleased with you and you are also pleased. So now you're going to tell me that, oh, where did you get these sayings that you can't enter heaven unless you're in a state of fitrah? Allah himself says it, bro. When you have the content self, you have the fitrah with you. And then when you have the content self, you're with Allah. And then when you have the content self, you have good manners, good character. Even if you're trying to give advice to someone, you're giving it in the most beautiful character. Now, if you're seeing yourself like you have horrible character, like you're just constantly living in heedlessness, like you're constantly indulging in things, like you can't keep scrolling, like you can't keep watching porn, like you can't keep eating, indulging in food. If you keep doing that, you're living in the lower self. You're living in the lower realm. You're basically close to shaitan, bro. You need to be getting out of that. And again, how do you get out of that? So if you're in the state right here, you have to be going through jihad and nafs, struggle against the self. Understand that your thoughts and the feelings that you have are all false, because all of these thoughts and feelings, they came as a result of a bad soul, of a dirty soul. Your soul is dirty, bro. Fix your soul first. Purify your soul. How do you purify your soul? Struggle against it. Discipline it. When your soul wants something, tell it no. And then once your soul, you actually have some type of discipline with your soul, that's when you have to go through tazkiyat nafs. Purify the soul now. Do dhikr. Be in a state of constant remembrance, constantly saying astaghfirullah, constantly saying subhanallah, constantly being grateful to Allah consistently. The more you keep doing that, the more you get back your fitrah, man. The more you start to have this content soul, and the more that you'll be with Allah. And then as a result, if you die when your soul is content, who are you going to be with? With Allah in heaven. And heaven, you'll only, by the way, you'll get to experience heaven even in this life right now, in the form of an emotion. You'll constantly be walking around feeling grateful, feeling love. If you're constantly feeling love and gratitude, you're in heaven, bro. In that state, you're in heaven. Allah says, like, even when you go to heaven, all the negativity, all the negative emotion, it goes away from your heart. So you need to fix your heart first. And by the heart, I mean fix the soul, purify the soul. Go through the dhikr, man. And then as a result of this, inshallah, this would be something like this. Just this video alone, I'm hoping that it's going to be helping a bunch of people. Understand, Habibi, you are the soul, not the body. You've always been the soul. The body is just a beautiful mechanism, but most of you guys have mistreated it. Most of you guys have abused it. So I'm hoping that this video is helpful, because if it was, man, just let me know